Once again, good evening to you, my dear traveller, for it would seem, once again, I am obligated to entertain and educate you with another of my captivating fables. Ah, it would appear that someone else has also come to hear my tale. Who do I mean, good traveller? I am, of course, talking about the ever-present guardian of the night, the owl. In fact, that wise old owl has just given me cause to recall a tale about that very creature, or at least, something that takes its form. Sit on this felled tree, my friend, whilst I tell the tale I have called the owl. Many years ago, Edward once told Henry a legend that said, when an owl hoots, a mist rolls in and a ghost wanders. Henry thought it was simply Edward going soft in the boiler, but it didn't stop his imagination from running riot, and it nearly led to him plunging off a cliff. Late one evening, Henry was getting steamed up in preparation for the nightly kipper run, when Edward backed into the berth next to him.
Good evening, Henry. Getting ready for the kipper, I see.
That's right, Edward. I am looking rather forward to it. Apparently, part of my load tonight is a special delivery of live lobsters for a seafood restaurant in Vickerstown that lets you choose your own lobster.
Sounds smashing. I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
Edward, whilst I've got you, can I ask you something?
But of course, Henry. What's on your mind, old chap?
Do you recall the tale you told me about how, when the owl hoots, a mist rolls in and a ghost wanders?
Yes, if I recall correctly, it led you to think that Old Bailey was a ghost and Harwin Station was haunted.
Where did that story come from?
I'm glad you asked, Henry. It was told to me by an elderly gentleman from the mainland who was a collector of books.
A collector of books? What kind of books?
All sorts, really. But he said that he found this story in an old diary that once belonged to a driver who worked the Peel Godred.
I don't suppose you happen to have this diary, do you, Edward?
Funny you should ask. It's in my cab right now. The old gentleman gave it to us on his last day before we headed back to the mainland. Charlie, could you get it for me, please?
Sure thing, old boy. Right now. Here we go.
My engine and I have taken over the night runs from the quarry on the new Peel Godred branch, as none of the other crews and engines would venture upon it. They tell our manager fanciful tales of some sort of creature stalking them in the forest at night. Whenever a heavy mist is upon us, like manager, I view these stories as nothing but the unfortunate side effects of overindulgence of a drink and a pitiful attempt to get out of doing that work. In my personal opinion, if they refuse to work here, then they should be conscripted into the Army of the Navy. I have no doubt in mind that Her Majesty's forces would be able to make useful men of them. I curse myself, but we have been running the quarry trains for 2 nights, and I am starting to feel uneasy. No matter where we go on the line, I get the inclination that we are being observed. An occasion, I swear I've seen something or someone dart across the line, either ahead or behind our train. Luckily, I have a few days rest due, so perhaps I will be able to rid myself of this foolish notion. I returned to work today to find my engine in some state of agitation. He claims whilst on his runs, the relief driver, Henderson, that he heard sounds not unlike that of a large animal coming from the woods. The foolish locomotive is of the opinion that a creature such as a bear or a lion has escaped to the wild. Yet no report of such activity has ever been recorded on the island. I have had to admonish him for his fanciful flights, for now he has grown quite irksome. My dearest Eleanor, forgive the rather informal and uncharacteristic way I've inscribed this entry, but I fear my day of reckoning is at hand, for I believe this day the devil himself comes to walk upon us. My engine and I were just departing a load from the quarry, and had just crossed the viaduct when we suddenly saw something in our path. dearest. The only way I can describe this creature is that it is some ungodly mixture of an owl and a dog, except it is almost the height of the tallest tree in the forest, and walks on its hind legs as if it were a man. It is currently pursuing us as we make our way towards Kronk Abbey. My hope is that it'll not pursue us into the town for fear of our numbers, or that, if it does, I shall be able to rouse some form of retaliating force until the authorities in Croven's Gate can send reinforcements. The creature's almost upon us, but I can see the light of Kronk Abbey just peeking through the mist. I'll start to rouse the townsfolk now.
Well, don't stop there. Go on.
That's all there is, Henry. At that point, the engine either derailed or was hit by the creature. All we know is, according to what records of the period remain, the constable was woken from his bed as a result of the townsfolk hearing the sound of an engine coming off the rails, and when the townsfolk went to investigate, they found the engine lying on his side, a completely mangled mess and not a sign of his crew, except of course for his driver's diary.
So, you're saying the owl you warned me about is really this creature?
I don't know, Henry. I just don't know.
Henry still ventures on to the Peel Godred branch today. When he spoke to Edward, he was initially looking for an answer to a question that had been puzzling him for quite some time. But after hearing the encounter written down in the driver's diary, he now has more questions than answers. As a precaution, he now regularly avoids going onto the branch on misty nights, just in case he may suddenly see the creature of Harwin Forest coming towards him. Quite the tale to be told, eh, traveller? What do I think happened to the engine's crew? Well, traveller, I don't know about you, but I reckon that's a question best left unanswered, don't you? Ah, the clock doth toll the hour, and summons me back to my work. I advise you leave this forest soon, good traveller. I think there's a mist starting to roll in.